This should help you remember everything.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
Everything you know is wrong.
Hey guys, what's going on? It looks like I solved a major Easter egg in Blood of the Dead, Black Ops 4, and it ties into Mob of the Dead from Black Ops 2. Now, to start with, these sketches are scattered around Blood of the Dead and Alcatraz, and I'm just going to focus on this one image because I think it was a major image or sketch, and then it looks at towards the bottom, the photo that's framed in blackout. I think that was added recently, maybe as an additional hint, because what Jason Blundell has said in the past is like he'll drop hints, and if people don't pick up on it, they'll drop another hint. And this Easter egg just kind of blows my mind that it's been 7 years and nobody picked up on it. I just started solving Easter eggs or looking more into them in the past, like maybe 2 years or maybe a year, a little bit after Black Ops 3. And this kind of also ties into Sal's laundry ticket, like how I solved it. It's like I know this is an Easter egg, and you just have to like stare at it for like maybe a day or two, come back to it, and that's kind of how my brain works in a way, and or maybe other people. I know, and it's a fact, and I hate to say it, visual textual Easter eggs are the toughest ones for the zombie community. It looks like people can do activation, they can do ciphers, but I find that the hardest ones for people are the visual ones that you have to kind of piece it together. It can't be data mined. So how I figured this out is the sketch. First, like most people, I thought it was Richtofen or the Warden or a character. But then I saw the painting or the photo at the bottom on Alcatraz, and it seems like they're putting more Easter eggs or maybe the bigger ones in Blackout, trying to get people to maybe play that mode. So how it worked, I'm like, this has to be something, that has to be the same guy, that has to be the sketch. And I'm going to kind of tiptoe around some stuff, so you can kind of skip ahead because the most of it is going to be a video that I need to play. What I did, I kind of cross-referenced on Google Nazis and Alcatraz. I'm like, why is there a Nazi image on Alcatraz and Blackout? I mean, that has to mean something. And people have said it in the past, like, Treyarch doesn't put stuff in the game unless it means something, unless it's there for a reason. They pick certain things, and especially, like I said, with the textual or visual Easter eggs, they're the toughest ones that people can figure out. Like, this obviously has been there for a couple of years. Not this one specifically, but how it all ties together. And it's going to tie in the tub, and it's one of those weird things, too, that people have always said, like, the blood in the tub doesn't make any sense, and it never did until now. Even for me, like I said, I've played the map, and I used to always do high rounds, and I kind of just went with the backstory of Alcatraz like most people did. But you'll see it even ties into the poster from Mob of the Dead and Shadows of Evil, where the same thing, like they kind of really tricked us, making us think that that was Der Eisendrache, and most people thought or assumed it was Der Eisendrache, unless they switched it at the end. Maybe they couldn't get any rights to the real castle. So what I'm getting at, like I said, I'm tiptoeing around it, just to kind of let people know like how I figured this stuff out, and how it kind of like, it's not like I just sit down and bam, it's there. I mean, it did kind of work with the sketch, the same sketch, and Blackout, how maybe was hinting towards Blackout because there's some coffee stains that matched up on both image. But I'm not going to spend too much time on that. So, like I said, it's just kind of like you stare at it, and I always thought this was never solved. I'm like, it doesn't it has to mean something else. And I've always searched and Googled like different movies and stuff like that. And I was like, there has to be a movie. There's a couple other movies that maybe it hinted at. But the castle, I guess, was the main thing. So I don't know if they changed the Reisendrak for the castle. So what I'm getting at is there is a castle named Colditz Castle, which was a Nazi prison where they would capture like officers from the other armies and put them in there. It was a POW camp, and what you'll see in the video is that the airplane, the Icarus plane idea, was made in this. This is the Nazi version of Alcatraz, and it's gonna say in the video, but this is where the whole idea of the glider in Icarus being built on the roof. And I don't know, I just don't know how, like, I mean, it makes sense now, and back then I guess people just kind of rolled with it. We just kind of believed what we wanted to believe. And the last thing that I want to say, it's like, it's really important, and I think for Blundell, to not give answers. I think that's what kind of hurt Zombies a little bit, is in Black Ops 3, he did a lot of interviews, I guess maybe trying to win over people to his side after Jimmy Zielinski was let go. But I think it's really important not to give answers, and this kind of shows that, like, it's just so much more fulfilling when it's solved on its own. And just the fact that, like, wow, it was there underneath everyone's nose and nobody picked up on it until now. They dropped a couple more hints, obviously, and I'm not gonna say like I went back and played Black Ops 2 and I solved it or whatever, but the additional sketch in the photo in Alcatraz, Blackout, kind of helped me solve it. Like I said, I Googled. I'm like, why is there a Nazi in Alcatraz? Why? How does that fit in? Was Nazis ever in San Francisco? So then it kind of was like, to me, it was a hint to kind of search like Nazis in Alcatraz, and that's how I figured it out. You'll just be blown away by how exact it is to Mob of the Dead, how they kind of meshed, and they do that a lot with the future maps. That they meshed a lot of stories together, or they molded, I guess, a lot of stories together. And like I said, the poster was never solved. Even the blood with the tub, I think it says it in the video, but they filled the tub with concrete to help catapult the plane off the roof. Just in case they don't explain it in the video, I just wanted to mention it and kind of give it away. But it just amazes me how, and kudos to everyone that kept the lid shut on it for us to solve it on our own and not give an answer in an interview, or any hints at all in any interviews. I think obviously it's bigger than the ADFGX cipher, but it's just huge, I think, in my opinion. Anyways, it's not because I solved it. It's just because I just think overall it's just amazing how it kind of was like hush hush for the whole past 7 years. Anyways, I'll play the video. Hope you guys liked it. I'll see you guys later.
Your PBS station.
In the heart of Nazi Germany, an ancient castle turned into a prison fortress. Surrounded by barbed wire and searchlights, with walls 6 feet thick and one guard for every prisoner, it would be escape-proof. But a group of British officers hadn't read the script. These prisoners conjured up one of the most audacious escape plans in history. Under the noses of their Nazi guards, they would secretly build a 2-man glider using floorboards and bedsheets, and hoped to launch it from the roof of the castle. But the war ended before they could carry out their plan. The prisoners were released, and the plane lost forever.
Jess, hi Jess, I'm here.
Now Nova is back, behind the walls of the fortress to find out, could this crazy scheme have actually worked? Led by Cambridge engineer Hugh Hunt, a crack team will reconstruct the glider in the same secret attic.
It's huge.
And they'll retrace some of the castle's other escape routes to discover what extraordinary efforts these men made to try to get out. For Hugh, it's personal. One of the men imprisoned here was his uncle.
And he was away from his family for 4 or 5 years. Pretty tough.
Finally, following the prisoner's plans, they'll try to catapult the glider from the castle roof using a bathtub full of concrete.
The chain hoist is stuck. Ah, it's moving again, yeah?
After a 70-year wait, at last we'll find out. Were the prisoners about to fly to freedom or plunge to certain death? Escape from Nazi Alcatraz, right now on Nova. High above the scenic town of Colditz, Germany, there looms an imposing fortress. Once a medieval castle, 70 years ago it was transformed into a notorious Nazi prisoner of war camp. Today it's mostly run down and empty. But during World War II, these rooms were filled with Allied officers who were caught trying to escape from other camps. The ghosts of these men still haunt the place.
We were marched up to the camp between lines of horrible sentries. Someone yelled out, "Welcome to Colditz." And we weren't very happy, because we didn't want to be there.
As officers, it was their duty to escape. This man is here to investigate how. Hugh Hunt, engineer.
It's a small space, and it must have been very cold and shaded in the winter. And this was their exercise yard with maybe 500 prisoners out here. 500.
This home movie, shot by a German guard, was discovered while making this film. It's the only known footage of prisoners in Colditz. There were over 170 escape attempts made. But one scheme must rank as the most audacious. In the final months of the war, a group of British prisoners plotted to fly their way out of the fortress. Their ticket to freedom was to be a homemade glider, built from scraps stolen from the Nazis, and launched off the roof. The prisoners planned to build their runway on the ridge of this roof, 34 meters above the ground. Hugh is in charge of finding out if this mission impossible would have stood any chance of working.
Brave guys, I have to say. Well, we'll do the best we can, and we will find it tough. Nothing like as tough as they would have found it.
The prisoners' plan was outrageously risky. Their glider would carry 2 men sitting back to back. To launch it off the roof, they would fasten a rope to the nose of the glider, run it over a pulley, and tie it to a bathtub full of concrete. Dropping the ton weight would catapult the glider off the roof.